Nigeria, a nation blessed with abundant resources, yet struggling to thrive. A people known for their resilience, yet seemingly complacent in the face of leadership failures. How did Nigerians get here? How did a nation with so much potential become enmeshed in poverty, corruption, and underdevelopment? Renowned author Chinua Achebe, in his book, The Trouble with Nigeria, famously said, "The trouble with Nigeria is simply a failure of leadership. The Nigerian problem is the unwillingness or inability of its leaders to rise to the responsibility, to the challenge of personal example, which are the hallmarks of true leadership." But why do Nigerians continue to entrust their fates to leaders who lead them astray? Late Delegiwa, the iconic journalist, once lamented that nothing shocks Nigerians anymore, no matter how dire the situation. Have the people become desensitized to their own suffering? Have they lost their sense of outrage and the willingness to demand better? In an exclusive interview with Roots TV, Professor Christopher Ndubisi Ogbobo, the Director of Research at the Nigeria Army Resource Center, speaks to some of these factors that have led to the decline in the quality of leadership.
My quick take as a historian is that our contemporary challenges of development, poverty, by development I mean the lack of it, and then the poverty we experience, can be traced first to our history. How did we evolve as a nation? And then secondly, it will not be a new thing from my perspective. The likes of Professor Chinua Achebe, sorry, not Chinua Achebe now. Yes, Achebe in the 70s told us that the problem with Nigeria was that of leadership. Scholars like Gabriel Akinola have also argued that the problem with Nigeria is that of leadership. I share that view. When Nigeria turned 50, I did a walk and I said the problem was that of followership. But I have since revised that position, that truly it is largely leadership. I start with the history of Nigeria. If you look at how we emerged as a country and how we have developed thus far, the same sage Achebe told us that there was a country. And that means that at a point we were getting it right as a country. We emerged, we were all disparate groups. The Fulani, the Hausa, the Igbo, the Yoruba, and then the multitude of peoples in the Middle Belt, South, and so on. We all came together, whether by force or later we started agreeing. Where we lost it was in the emergence of a political class. When the political class emerged, they emerged as leaders in their own nationalities, their own ethnic nationalities.
Despite the robust manpower and natural resources, the country has consistently become reliant on others for survival. Nigeria's presidents travels the world seeking assistance from foreign powers, giving the impression that we're incapable of self-sufficiency. We're left with more questions than solutions. How did a nation that once proudly declared independence become so dependent on others? It is often said that Nigeria got its independence on a platter of gold, a reference to the fact that we did not have to organize guerrilla warfare against the British, as was the case in East and Central Africa, or against apartheid, as in South Africa. However, the legacy left by the British colonial masters has been one of division and shortcomings, which Nigerian citizens have yet to fully overcome. While the nation achieved independence without bloodshed, it is possible that the ease of this transition led to a sense of complacency among the people. Regrettably, instead of forging a robust and united national foundation, Nigeria has grappled with destructive forces of ethnic and religious divisions, tearing communities apart and hindering progress towards a harmonious and prosperous nation.
You know, when we talk about leaders, you must distinguish it from rulers. A leader captures the group essence. What as a group we want to achieve. He represents that. He keys into the people's desires. Most of our post-independence leaders did not meet that criteria of leadership. They could capture the essence of their own ethnic group and not that of a pan-Nigerian setting. Of course, you know that when the military came, they came as rulers. But I must say that now with the benefit of comparison, the military have done far, far better. They have their shortcomings. We don't call for their coming back. Certainly not. But look back into our history. From 1960, you will discover that most of the major structures of the state today were things introduced by the military. We call them names and so on and so forth. How many years of democratic practice have we been able to change the constitution?
From the outset, the Nigerian nation was fragmented along ethnic lines, which has allowed corruption and favoritism to thrive. The leaders have weaponized ethnicity and religion, ensuring that the people are focused on fighting themselves instead of holding leaders accountable. They embezzle funds meant for the development, prioritizing their own interests over the nation's.
We go back to the issue of our poverty. When leadership is therefore decrepit, corrupt, inefficient, it's going to flow down to the people. Where you have visionary leaders, no matter what you say about the first generation of politicians after 1960, we saw improvement, whether you were in the north or in the south or in the Midwest. There was significant. Look at people like M.I. Okpara, Obafemi Awolowo, the university named after him. He built it. Zik, UNN, and so on. They left major structures that you can point to. And by structures, I mean pillars of development. What then happened subsequently? They struggled for independence. After independence, everybody reclined to his ethnic enclave. And having reclined into their ethnic enclave, the consequence is that charlatans began to come to the center stage. People who did not care, who did not capture the group essence. If you are leading a people, you must know what the people want. You must have a destination where you want to lead them to. You cannot be buying jeeps when your people are suffering in abject poverty. Then something is fundamentally wrong. You are not capturing their desires.
Our guest further speaks on the fact that the civil service is also culpable, with leaders indulging in luxuries without delivering results, religious groups vying for power, hindering our progress. To quote Karl Marx, religion is the opium of the people. It is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of a heartless world, and the soul of our soulless conditions. This quote by Karl Marx is often quoted, but in Nigeria's case, it is the perfect description, because religion has indeed become a tool of manipulation used by our leaders to maintain their grip on power.
Between 1960 and now, we have had more of rulers than leaders. That explains the level of corruption they have unleashed on society, because their desires is not about the people, it's about themselves. How can you develop when you have monumental corruption within the society? It becomes very difficult, extremely difficult. Who are the role models of modern Nigeria? If you look at where we were coming from, at a point we departed. As a former president of Historical Society of Nigeria, don't forget, we fought a regal battle as a group to bring back history. Leaders that yanked off history from the curriculum for 33 years. What are you teaching the generation after you? So you discover that it is a complex web, a concatenation of factors that have brought us down. But at the peak, the most important push factor, in my humble opinion, is leadership.
In wrapping up, are Nigerians a resilient people or a complacent nation? It is time to reflect and take action to reclaim destiny and build a brighter future for future generations. We must demand better leadership and hold our leaders accountable for their actions. We must prioritize merit over ethnicity and religion and work towards a united and prosperous nation. The time for that change is now.